So since 2001, Profectus continues to automate compliance and assist clients recover lost revenue. Specifically, we provide transactional level audits that identify and recover payment errors and compliance technologies to automate compliance. Our clients include major organisations from the ASX 100 and New Zealand's largest clients across mining, banking, retail, FMCG and government. There's been some key technologies that have emerged in recent times that help automate the procure-to-pay processes. Three of the key technologies that we've seen emerge is artificial intelligence programs, machine learning, and robotic process automation or RPA. Interestingly, we've seen across the corporates, despite interest and significant investment in these technologies, there hasn't been successful implementation to solve manual procure-to-pay processes. Another key trend we're seeing in procure-to-pay is that there are increasing error rates. We're surprised after over 20 years of auditing major corporates that we're still seeing procure-to-pay errors, primarily driven out of human errors within the procure-to-pay processes. We've seen, and it's backed up by research, that organisations can actually reduce their spend by automating procure-to-pay by up to 2%. One of the other observations we see linked to this error rates is there's still a lack of automated compliance technologies working alongside or behind our client's ERP, validating every transaction to pick up these payment errors. Other key trends or P2P observations are supply chain challenges. So we've seen deglobalisation of the supply chain impacting supplier and supplier mix. And this has had a flow-on effect to procurement and finance functions in managing the supplier mix change. We've also seen some real challenges with people challenges within large organisations. So we've seen talent shortage, we've seen a churn of people, and we've seen a loss of corporate knowledge driving payment errors within the procure-to-pay. We've also seen, as a result of the economic conditions, more restrictions on spend. Organisations have been asked to do more with less in terms of people. There's been delays in new initiatives, and this flows into investment in technologies for procure-to-pay automation. Another key observation we've seen as it relates to procure-to-pay, cybersecurity risks, increased cybersecurity risks, primarily around the use of email and seeing that as a platform for fraud in the procure-to-pay. And so it's an area that needs real focus from our clients' perspective. Part of Profectus's goal to assist clients automate transactional level compliance, we've partnered with Zellex and their world-leading accounts payable control platform that validates accounts payable errors to identify problems such as duplicate payments, processing tax errors, and automate supplier statement reconciliation.
Traditionally, companies have used rule-based systems to try and detect invoice errors or duplicate invoices. Unfortunately though, these systems aren't particularly flexible, and so they can't adapt well to the complexity and the variety in companies' invoicing data. As a result, they raise a lot of false positives, invoices that the system thinks are concerning, but in reality are perfectly harmless. What this means is that companies spend a lot of time investigating these false positives that aren't actually a risk to their business and end up wasting a lot of time and ultimately a lot of money. At Zellex then, we take a slightly different approach. Instead of using rule-based systems, we use machine learning. The first stage of this is to compute hundreds of different data points for each invoice, trying to quantify every aspect of every invoice. We then feed these to machine learning systems called gradient-boosted decision trees. These are essentially just very flexible systems that can adapt to the data we give them and learn the subtle differences between invoice errors and invoices that are perfectly normal. Ultimately, this reduces the number of false positives, and from day one, we can save companies time and money. In the long term, what's even better is that our customers have the opportunity to give feedback to the errors that we raised to them. We can then build this feedback into our models, and our models can learn more and more subtle differences for each company's data. As time goes on then, our models get better and better and can save our companies more and more money.
So we've been using Xelex for just over 12 months. At the time, we was moving from our legacy system, which was PeopleSoft, which wasn't integrated with purchase orders or anything. So it's a really manual system, and we're moving over to a proper procure-to-pay system, which was SAP. So we were really keen to make sure that we weren't doing duplicate invoices, and, there wasn't getting processed on both systems and us not realising. And then that's why we started using Xelex, and it was brilliant. It captured so many duplicates that we wouldn't have realised, and that we could recover the money, from pretty quickly. I think the beauty about the system as well was the fact that we were capturing the money before we paid it out, whereas on the old system, we'd pick it up eventually when we were doing statement reconciliations, but it could be months after, and they could have gone, into administration. I think, especially with the situation with COVID, the fact that it's so timely, we're getting it sorted before we, pay the money out. That's a big benefit for us because we've seen so many companies go under. So when we saw the benefits from that side of it with the duplicates, obviously, we said about the statements, was there anything we could do? And then they said about this module that they just brought out, and would we be interested in trying it? And from the first time that we used it, everybody that we showed just thought it was an absolutely fantastic module. So we were really pleased, and I think, going back to where I said we was only doing 10 to 15%, although we've got a big supplier base on us goods not for resale, there's about 1,600. We only get probably 250 statements in on a regular basis every month. But I've got one person doing all the 250 over a few days. It's so quick. So, what she does is she'll do the statement. She can update it and modify it to anything that we want. So if we have parked invoices, that means something to us as a system. So she can just change the headings and set it to however we prefer at Wilco's. But then she's using the supplier statement when she's updating it and sending it back to them. So it means something to them as well. It just looks so much more tidier than, before when we used to do it manually and you're writing on it and downloading it and printing it. Especially with the agile working, you don't have to do the printing or anything. You're just updating it straight on the system. So, it's one of those jobs now that we do at period end that everybody can't wait to get onto the statements for. And every single statement that we're getting in, we're reconciling. So it has been a massive turnaround for us. And I think the beauty about the system as well is because it's all in one place, everything is saved. You've got the history there. You don't have to print anything off, store anything. It's just all there on the system for easy access.
Liberty Global is on a really big transformation journey at the moment, particularly within our accounts payable team. And one of the biggest things that we're trying to address is just removing some of that manual behaviour that we have to do within the accounts payable world. And Xelex has really helped us to address that. I mean, straight away, the amount of manual work that's involved in the duplicate checks and the statement reconciliation has been hugely reduced. I think the duplicate part of Xelex, so the duplicate identifier within the product, has been fantastic. That has helped us identify a lot of duplicates that we're now not needing to do a manual process on. And then also the statement reconciliations, because we're such a large company, we have a huge amount of suppliers, and it's just not been possible to do statement reconciliations across all of our suppliers. So the statement reconciliation part of the Xelex products really enabled us to do a lot more now. I think one of the really interesting stats for us, as soon as we deployed Xelex, obviously we did a business case to how to bring it in and what the return would look like. But within the first 3 days, I think we'd realised that it had already returned, I think, over 250k from historical duplicates, which is fantastic, and it's overdid what we expected as part of the business case. And we brought Zelix in for just one of our entities, which is Virgin Media. But since people have seen what Zelix has been able to deliver for Virgin Media and the return on investment, we're now exploring Zelix for multiple different operating companies. I think as a product, it's super user-friendly. Like the interface is really simple, and I think a lot of the technologies that you look at today can be somewhat overcomplicated, so it's really nice that Zelix is so easy to use.
As we've heard, Zelix has enabled UK retailer Wilko to fully automate the reconciliation process of all supplier statements received. Zelix has also delivered Liberty Global over £250,000 of errors in the first 3 days after turning it on for one of its business units. Ask us how this could work for you